All right, so we are essentially a week later. Everything that is damaged is removed from the bike. Everything is here now. There's a tough way to know which your color code is. I figured that out the hard way. So that's the mid-fairing, and these are the stickers, the logo graphics for the mid-fairing. This is the blue mid-fairing. I did order, and I'm telling y'all, this is just how it goes, man. I did already order the white one. That'll probably be here tomorrow or Saturday. Color codes don't show in the part number for Partzilla, but it's really easy to figure it out, and I figured it out after I made the order. I did tell him, hey, I might have ordered the wrong color winglet, and I definitely thought that I was on point with the mid-fairing, but I was not. As we open this up, I know for sure that the winglet is the right color. That paint is amazing. It's uncomparable. I'm so glad that they sent me the wrong side. Oh my God. Wow. Well, after getting all of that RMA'd, that's gonna go back to Partzilla, and it's no fault of anybody's. The part numbers are the same depending on the color you go in on the drop downs. I am not mad at it. I mean, you know how it is. We can make the rush to try to get the bike done for this weekend's track day, but it ain't required, man. Just get the right parts, and the whole thing is getting the bike back together in perfect condition. I want y'all to learn, as well as me to learn, that patience is a thing. I'm in no rush. I did buy all the other parts even before calling the guy to get the stuff returned, because I want the stuff to get here as fast as possible, but I'm not gonna rush a rush order. You hear what I mean? Guest store, after shipping all that shit off, do say, oh yeah, I sent you the RMA information and everything in your email, blah, blah, blah. This shipping just cost me $109, which again, it's just money. How would I be returning something that got sent to me improperly and then having to pay for it? But whatever. This whole process, like my wife was saying, this process seems to be getting me a little bit of patience and humility. I'm in no rush. I just want the bike back to normal. I'm just glad that the parts are available. I was talking to one of the homies off of the R9 group. He just dropped his bike, cracked his winglet and mid-fairing and everything. And my initial thought, I'd already wanted the white regardless, because I knew it was gonna have pearlescent in it. And then I knew the blues and the blacks were gonna be the most purchased and produced. So that meant to me that they're going to be the most crashed ones. Just about all the crashed R9s I've seen have been the blues and the blacks. There's not even any of the winglets available. There's one blue side in Japan, the left side. One blue one in Japan he's trying to get. And I'm luckily able to get both sides. I actually should have kept the left winglet. Now that I'm thinking about it, goddamn. They charging me all that money. I should have kept the left winglet, but I'm sending that on the way. But I know they're available. So I just know that the whites are available. So that's another plus for having the white and red. But damn, they just made all of those anniversary editions, which is base white. Maybe I'm gonna have to stock up on the parts. I'm gonna have to stock up on the whites, because now the white is gonna be for two bikes, my year and the anniversary year. Tell the truth. All right, bye, Mom. Jayla said bye. Good afternoon.
What's going on?
Oh man, a little bit of nothing.
What are you doing now?
Well, I am improving amongst the
Speed?
highly engineered vehicle that they gave us.
Holy shit!
Giving a little bit
Didn't
more.
we had that many bikes?
Oh yeah, I got a few.
Wow. Okay.
I crash sometimes, so I need to pull spares out the chamber.
Is that what it is? Or are they all? What's the purpose of having so many? Just different styles?
Yeah. They're all different varieties. That's a large displacement 4-cylinder. This is a small displacement 4-cylinder. This is a medium displacement 3-cylinder. And then these three are small displacement 2-cylinders for training on small tracks.
Okay.
That's it. That's installed. It's legit. So it's plain to see, just with the advantage of not having to fight from getting air down these things under it and then into this little teeny tiny air filter location. This surface area of the filter is nowhere near comparing to that size. Like, look at the gargantuan surface filter that is compared to this little thing. Cool part about it, this, you see the runner, the tops of them go right up in these little contours. So air, whatever air gets under the tank, it's right in this surface directly into the runners. Talking to Nate with Two Wheel Dyno Works, and I'm just asking him, like, hey, just picking his brain. I like to pick people's brains. Hey, if we cut this or maybe just cut the whole front of the airbox open, does that do the same thing? He's like, no. And I mean, I understand that when you look at the value of air that comes in, this would still block air in whatever capacity that it can block air in. This is getting the most air in that it could possibly get as far as surface area and as far as getting air directly to the runners. So it's cool that Nate, who is the all-time boss of CP3 engines, tuning them and what the components you should have to make the most power, you know, I asked him, is that a viable thing if you didn't want to do the DNA? Because these are hard to come by right now. He said, nope, doesn't compare. You can get more power, yes, but the mid-range that this gives you, because it gets air in so fast, it's like a 3 to 5 horsepower gain just on mid-range. We have the most power that an R9 can get in a factory configuration without cracking the engine open and putting cams in it. This setup should be right around 119, 120 at the rear wheel. Nate is on the West Coast, there in Washington. He knows better than anybody else what this thing needs, and he's tuned it thus far the way that it should be getting the maximum safe output. So the sound that this thing makes now, just from here, combined with that, if you've ever heard like a really loud ITB car, the grrrr that you hear, you get that here, but this overpowers it once you rev it a little further. But I want to hear what this sounds like under load. We'll do that on the first ride. I'll put it all together. I gotta go get my daughter. Let's see, maybe I'll get that to y'all in this video too. I kind of can't wait to ride this thing now. It's like the R3s. The R3s make such a gnarly sound from the air boxes. I love how those sound. As long as this part is white, I could have my wife make the goddamn logo. Woo! Crispy. Oh, and it came with the hardware. Oh! It came 100% together. Oh, I'm hype. Well, I got spare logos then, but yeah. I didn't think it came 100% together because they sold everything individually. Oh, I'm so ecstatic. It came with everything. That's what we needed. Now we can finish this damn thing up. right, so I was actually right, but I was wrong. I thought this shape of what the envelope was, it wasn't going to be the right sticker, but it is actually the right OEM decal. So I do have a spare, but didn't need it because obviously panel came with everything. Look how fire the belly pan and the exhaust combination looks. It's kind of what I was going for. Pretty close, about 80% of what I was going for. I do dig the belly pan. It is sick. I'm actually not sold on having the Yamaha on it. It could come off, but I'm not mad at it. My wife makes the logos, so it's really not needed because I got Yamaha right there. I don't need that much redundancy. But yeah, bike's back together. New lever, that's done. New case cover, that's done. Belly pan, winglet, side panel, and we're complete. I just want to finish up this vlog with the bike being complete, how it looks, and then I'll give you guys the first ride. It did get sunny today. It was cloudy all day, kind of misty, but looks like we can get on this bike and go jam. Again, this thing is incredibly loud right now. Well, it's going to be incredibly loud forever because of this exhaust. So I don't think I'll be able to use a Laguna Seca. Laguna Seca is the next track day. So this might just be like my Thunder Hill bike. Thunder Hill, Sonoma, shit like that. I'll bring it to Laguna, but I think I'm going to bring this, and the R3. If this is too loud, then I'll jump on this or the R3. I do think it'll be cool to have Jalen get Laguna practice as well. And just so you guys can be excited for the next video, you know what I mean? We got the tuned bike, and she sounds like this. Sounds like a fucking Lambo.
It sounds like it's turbo.
Because the intake sounds?
If you hear it, like it smells back here, it sounds like it's like
So I hope y'all excited for the next video. On that, I'm gonna get y'all 2, and we out.